The Dow has done some correcting this past week. It's been a bit of a roller coaster ride. And I've been saying for the last several weeks that eventually the Dow is going to have to move towards the support. And even if it only does that by default, by moving sideways while the support line is trending upwards, eventually it's going to intersect. But what happened is we had a pretty solid drop on very strong volume, and we got within 1% of support. And we had a pretty good bounce back away from that support, but it's on fairly weak volume. It's about average, but it's not strong volume. So that bounce doesn't give me a lot of confidence that we're back in a super solid uptrend. You know, it's hardly a correction what we experienced this past week. I would not be surprised if the Dow continues to move back towards this support. If it just continues to move in the sideways pattern the way it's been doing for quite some time, since April basically, it's going to intersect with this uptrending line because it can't keep up with such a steep uptrending support line. It's going to intersect with that support line sometime in early June, maybe the first or second week. And that's going to be a big turning point because it's either going to bounce hard off that and move up in a real strong uptrend again, or it's going to begin to breach it. And what the chart is telling me is that this uptrend is getting tired, and I would not expect it to keep on going up, up, up. It's going to have to intersect with this uptrending line, and it's probably going to have to breach it and correct at some point here, maybe in the next few weeks. That's my best prediction of what's going to happen. Now, the Nasdaq had more of a drastic reversal from its recent all-time highs, which were the end of April. It was 9% away from support, and it went all the way down to less than 0.5% away from this support line. Again, this is a very long uptrending support line, and it has not been breached at all. And it got within 0.5%. So, you know, that's basically within the margin of error. So technical analysts could declare that it bounced, but it did it on definitely lower than average volume. So I'm not confident that the Nasdaq is moving up, up, up. I think just like the Dow, the Nasdaq's getting tired, and it's going to be really hard for it to continue to keep pace with this super long-term and fairly steep uptrend. Now, jumping over to the S&P 500, there has been this troublesome and worrisome megaphone pattern that's been developing for quite some time, really since before the new year, back in even the end of November, it began to develop. It has looked off and on like it was going to complete the pattern, and then it doesn't. It actually bounces and then moved up to this resistance line, continuing to form the megaphone pattern. But what's interesting is if you zoom in here, it almost seems like another smaller version of a megaphone pattern is forming. We do have 3 solid touches, even in this little area right here. Only 2 touches on the lower support. Seems like it's moving towards that megaphone pattern in a large sense and in a small sense. Also, its recovery, although it was a nice little jump, barely average, below average really. Definitely not solid average and definitely not large volume, but a weak volume on the bounce does not give me a lot of confidence that the S&P 500 is going to continue up, up, up. It's tired just like the other 2 indices. I will not be surprised if it continues to move towards this support line. It's almost 9% away from this support here. So kind of running behind schedule of the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq was about 9% away from that support, and it got to within 0.5%. So I would not be a bit surprised if the S&P 500 follows suit sometime in the next week or so and drops slowly each day, but totaling up to 8 or 9%, getting closer and closer to this support line. If it breaches support, there is a lower support that it could then hit, but I don't know, that's an old support and it hasn't even been touched on since the end of October. I am not super confident in this price movement right now. I sure hope that it's not going to complete this megaphone pattern, because if it does, it's going to be pretty ugly for a little while. All right, so that's what's going on with the indices. If you have any questions about technical analysis or you want me to talk about any stocks, please put your questions below and I will answer them. If there are any stocks you would like me to analyze, put those in the comment section and I'll do a video on them next week. Please subscribe to get all of our latest videos and don't forget to hit the like button. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.